with us as we come back to you for our next discussion as well. Now, Gaza's health authorities have reported that Israeli military strikes have killed 80 people and wounded 303 people since a ceasefire took effect on October 10th. In the past 24 hours alone, Israeli operations have resulted in 57 deaths and 158 injuries. This latest wave of violence brings the total death toll in Gaza since the outbreak of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict on October 7, 2023 to 68,216 people, with 170,361 others injured. The Israeli military has confirmed that 2 soldiers were killed in a Hamas attack on Sunday in the southern Gaza Strip. Hamas has also reportedly fired an anti-tank missile and opened fire on Israeli troops dismantling infrastructure in Rafah, prompting retaliatory air and artillery strikes from the Israeli Defense Forces. On the sidelines, Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani has said that Qatar condemns Israel's violations and practices in Palestine and its continuous violation of Gaza ceasefire. Now we go back to guest discussion with Peter Baum. He's a foreign editor at Weekly Blitz, joins us live from London. Thank you very much, Peter, for staying with us. Now, looking back at this, I want to ask about the international players and their roles. So what should these international actors who are involved in mediating between this Hamas and Israel play in mediating the Israel-Palestine conflict?
Well, they can play a great role, and I think we've alluded to this in the previous questions. One thing that it staggers me, I am bewildered as to how any reputable media outlet can still be quoting the Gaza Health Authority. The Gaza Health Authority doesn't exist. The Gaza Health Authority is a Hamas propaganda outlet. That's all it is. We were told at the beginning of the war that Gaza's health facilities were not functioning. For the 2 years, we've been told that there are hospitals that have ceased to function, but clearly are functioning. We've been told for 2 years by the Gaza Health Authority that there's been a famine, but we saw when the Palestinian prisoners were released, and the joy of the Palestinian public, they weren't suffering from famine, so that the idea that media outlets can still refer to the Gaza Health Authority as if they're some kind of reputable organisation is frankly absurd and taking the public for fools. It's a myth. The Gaza Health Authority does not exist. The fact that Qatar has been so...
Peter, sorry, but I just wanted to say that is because there's no other trustworthy. I'm not saying that these numbers are trustworthy either, but there's no other organization that is announcing these numbers or that is on the ground, since Israel does not allow any journalists, foreign journalists, to enter the Gaza Strip, of course. So we have no other choice but to take these numbers that come in from the only source that is still in the ground over there.
Please, but you do have another choice. Yes, you do have another choice. You can actually inform your public with the questions that I've just posed to you by informing your public that we must take these numbers with a pinch of salt because of the reasons I've just given you. And we can see with our own eyes that the Gaza Health Authority, no one has ever been interviewed from the Gaza Health Authority. It does not exist. It is a Hamas propaganda machine. And how can it be that in an area so devastated by bombs, they can be so precise with the numbers of Palestinians killed and never state to the public how many Hamas operatives are killed? So the public have been taken for fools by the media globally. Al Jazeera has played a huge part in promoting the propaganda of Hamas. And don't forget, Al Jazeera is owned by the government of Qatar, a nation that you've just quoted to me and to your viewers as condemning Israel for the breach of the ceasefire, when in fact it was plain for everyone to see that it was Hamas, in fact, who breached the ceasefire by firing the anti-tank launcher at the Israeli tank. So, again, to quote the Gaza Health Authority, frankly, I think is mocking the public that you're serving, and every media outlet, and it's not just yourself, it's numerous media outlets globally, are still quoting the Gaza Health Authority when they should at least be putting a caveat by that name and saying, we believe actually that the Gaza Health Authority is in fact the Hamas propaganda department. It's as simple as that. And Qatar, although very, very important to the negotiating process, frankly, are still not trusted, neither by the Americans nor by the Israelis, to be an impartial player in this. They are very much a funder of terrorism worldwide, and the fact that they may have stopped funding Hamas terrorism is yet to be seen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Peter, for joining us and sharing that insight. Now we stay in the region. UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric has confirmed that humanitarian aid has resumed entering Gaza following a brief halt due to a deadly attack on Israeli soldiers. The resumption of aid comes amid growing concerns over the escalating humanitarian crisis in the enclave as winter approaches. Despite delays in reopening the Rafah crossing, aid from Egypt is now being rerouted through the Kerem Shalom crossing for Israeli inspection before entering Gaza. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs has highlighted the urgency of delivering food and medical supplies as essential items like rice, flour, and canned food are in high demand. Let's listen into what UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric has said.
Over the weekend, we and our partners continued to collect aid from the Kerem Shalom Kesufim crossings. This included postpartum hygiene kits, medical supplies, fuel, food, and water. And yesterday, for the first time, Israeli authorities allowed the United Nations to deploy monitors at the Kesufim crossing. This is, of course, a welcome development as it will provide us with much-needed visibility into that segment of the pipeline.
Egypt has also dispatched its largest ever humanitarian aid convoy to Gaza, with 400 trucks carrying 9,000 tons of relief supplies, including food, medical resources, and fuel. Volunteers are working tirelessly to meet the needs of civilians with a focus on providing daily necessities and preparing for the cold winter months. With over 19,000 structures in Gaza damaged, warm clothing, blankets, and other cold weather supplies are now being prioritized in the effort to support those affected by the ongoing conflict. Let's listen into a few comments of the Gaza Aid volunteers.
أول حاجة بنعملها إن إحنا بيبقى عندنا اكتفاء ذاتي من كل اللي إحنا بنحتاجه، ما بين حبوب، ما بين طبعا حبوب دقيقة، رز، مكرونة، عدس، أي حاجة، كل اللي بيحتاجه المطبخ عموما لغاية اللبس والأكل والشرب.
احنا موجودين في 12 قافلة قبل كده اللي راحوا غزة بصفة السكة لأهلنا في غزة. القوافل دي كلها بتتضمن مواد غذائية، طبعا كميات مهولة، لبن أطفال، بطاطين، مؤن، أغذية، كل ما تتخيلوا. أي حاجة بتطلب مننا السيد الفاضل مستر محمد بنين لا يتأخر خالص، بالعكس كل تعليماته ودوا.
Now we move on to our next news.